Imagine descending into the Earth's deepest, blackest hole, a place so remote, so treacherous, that one wrong step means you're never coming back. Veryovkina Cave, the deepest cave on the planet, is not just a wonder of nature, it's a graveyard for those who underestimate it. Floods surge in without warning, explorers vanish into its depths, and sometimes, the only way out is death. Tucked away in the rugged Gagra range of the Caucasus Mountains, right on the border of Russia and Georgia, Veryovkina Cave plunges down to a mind-boggling depth of 7,257 feet, or 2,212 meters. Just to put that into perspective, if you were to take 23 full-size Statue of Liberties and stack them one on top of the other, you'd still have a little room left before reaching the cave's bottom. The entrance itself lies at an altitude of 7,500 feet, 2,286 meters, located in the harsh and unforgiving landscape of these towering mountains. The cave was first discovered in 1968, but back then, nobody had an idea just how deep it truly went. Initial explorations by local cavers took them down to only 377 feet, or 115 meters, barely scratching the surface of what was to come. It wasn't until 1983 that the Veryovkina Speleo Club from Moscow rediscovered the cave, and with renewed vigor, they began descending deeper into its icy blackness. By 1986, they had reached a depth of around 1,400 feet, 427 meters, but that still wasn't the bottom. The expeditions into Veryovkina Cave paused for a while, but in 2000, the drive to uncover the secrets of its abyss reignited. Teams of explorers returned, equipped with more advanced technology and a better understanding of the dangers they faced. Then, in 2015, something incredible happened. While navigating one of the deeper sections of the cave, explorers stumbled upon a new shaft. This discovery was a game-changer. It opened up an entirely new path, revealing that Veryovkina was far deeper than anyone had ever imagined. With each descent, the explorers pushed the boundaries, inching closer to a record-breaking discovery. By 2017, the team had extended the depth of the cave to a staggering 7,200 feet, 2,194.5 meters. The feeling among the cavers was electric. They knew they were on the verge of history. The journey to the bottom wasn't easy. The deeper they went, the more the cave seemed to resist. Massive, narrow passages, known as sumps, would flood unexpectedly, leaving no room for error. With every descent came the creeping realization that rescue, should anything go wrong, was nearly impossible. It was a one-way ticket into the earth, and not everyone was ready to cash in that ticket. Then, in March of 2018, the moment of triumph finally arrived. The explorers reached what is officially recognized as the deepest point of Veryovkina Cave, a mind-numbing 7,257 feet beneath the surface. It was a monumental achievement, but as they stood there, bathed in the dim light of their headlamps, surrounded by nothing but rock, cold, and silence, the weight of where they were truly sank in. They had reached the deepest known point on Earth. They were as far from the world above as anyone had ever been. But with triumph came tragedy. The story of Veryovkina Cave wasn't just about the brave explorers who charted its depths. It was also about those who never made it back. Veryovkina's unforgiving passages have claimed lives, and its remoteness means that even the smallest mistake can turn into a catastrophe, and that's exactly what happened. In March of 2018, an experienced team of cavers, led by Pavel Demidov, embarked on what should have been a groundbreaking expedition. Joining him were world-renowned cave photographers Robbie Schoen and Jeff Wade, whose mission was not just to explore, but to document the breathtaking, alien-like beauty of Veryovkina's hidden passages. Their plan was to venture into the cave's horizontal galleries near the bottom, collecting geological samples and capturing images that would show the world a place few had ever seen. At first, the descent went as planned. The team made their way deeper into the cave, setting up temporary camps as they inched toward their destination. By the time they reached Camp 6, positioned at an incredible depth of 6,900 feet, 2,103 meters, the mood was optimistic. They had come prepared, with enough supplies to last several days. and the knowledge that their expedition was one of scientific significance. But what they didn't know was that above them, the skies had darkened and a massive storm was brewing. As they settled in at Camp 6, a storm thousands of feet above in the Caucasus Mountains triggered what would soon become a life-threatening flood. In an instant, thousands of liters of water began pouring into the cave, traveling through the same narrow tunnels the team had spent hours descending. The geology of Veryovkina Cave, with its steep shafts and tight passageways, was a perfect conduit for disaster. The rainwater surging down through the cave's vertical galleries created a terrifying phenomenon known as flood pulse, a torrent of water that would soon turn the cave into a death trap. The first signs of trouble came with the sound of rushing water echoing through the passages. At first, it was faint, just a distant rumble, but as it grew louder, it became clear to them that this was no ordinary situation. The cave's natural flood systems were overwhelmed, and the team had mere moments to react. Pavel Demidov quickly made the call to evacuate Camp 6, knowing that if they didn't move fast, they'd be swallowed by the rising water. The team scrambled to pack up their gear, but they were racing against time. Robbie Schoen and Jeff Wade, both trained to handle extreme conditions, took the lead on the ascent, guiding the group back up the perilous shafts. But it wasn't just the physical difficulty of the climb. It was the sheer power of water pouring in, pushing against them with unrelenting force. The intense water pressure turned even the smallest passages into near impossible obstacles as they fought to keep their footing while the flood raged around them. At every turn, the danger increased. The once navigable paths now became suffocating torrents, threatening to sweep them off their feet and drag them back down into the cave's depths. The cold, rushing water soaked them to the bone, and the already freezing temperatures of the cave began to take their toll. For every step they took forward, it felt like the cave itself was fighting back, pushing them further toward disaster. But Robbie and Jeff pressed on, determined to get the team to safety. As they clawed their way upward through the churning water, their training and experience proved invaluable. Hour by hour, they led the team up from 6,900 feet to 6,200 feet, a grueling ascent of 700 vertical feet to reach Camp 5, a temporary reprieve from the rising waters. The effort was physically and mentally exhausting, but the alternative was unthinkable. For 20 long hours, the flood pulse surged through the Veryovkina Cave, filling passageways with a violent rush of water. The team huddled at Camp 5, anxiously waiting for the storm above to subside and praying that the cave's natural drainage systems would do their job before the water rose any higher. The sound of flood echoed endlessly through the cave, a constant reminder that they were trapped miles below the Earth's surface with no easy way out. But this wasn't the last accident to occur in the cave, and the next one even claimed a life. In August of 2021, the Perovo Spaleo Club, the very team responsible for much of the cave's exploration, stumbled upon something they hadn't expected to find. Deep within the cave, amidst the shadows and the icy cold, they discovered abandoned equipment, and with it, they found something far more unsettling: the decomposed remains of a body. The cavers knew immediately that this wasn't just a lost traveler or forgotten gear. The body had been there for months, untouched in the darkness. When they brought the discovery to the surface, it didn't take long to identify the remains. The body belonged to Sergei Kozeev, a 37-year-old man who had gone missing in November 2020. But the most haunting part of this tragic story was that Sergei hadn't told anyone where he was going. Unlike most expeditions, which involved meticulously planned logistics, experienced teams, and proper safety protocols, Sergei had ventured into Veryovkina Cave alone. He hadn't informed any friends, family, or fellow cavers of his plans. When he entered the cave that fateful November, he was entirely on his own, leaving no one to sound the alarm when things went wrong. It's unclear what drove Sergei to take on this perilous journey by himself. Some speculate that it was a quest for adventure, perhaps even a need to prove something to himself or the world. But without the proper equipment and experience needed to navigate such a dangerous environment, he was walking into a deadly trap. The Perovo team pieced together Sergei's movements after reviewing the site of his body. From the state of his equipment and his remains, It appeared that he had survived for about a week at Camp 2, located at 3,600 feet deep inside the cave. For 7 days, Sergei likely battled the harsh conditions of the cave, the freezing temperatures, the damp air, and the disorienting darkness that presses in on you from all sides. But after that week, Sergei made the fatal decision to descend even deeper into Veryovkina's abyss. At some point during his descent, it became clear that Sergei was trapped. Unable to climb back up, he likely wandered the cave, searching desperately for another way out, or simply a place to wait for help that would never come. The isolation, the physical exhaustion, and the sheer hopelessness of being miles below the surface without a way out must have been overwhelming. It's believed that Sergei eventually succumbed to either exhaustion or hypothermia, alone in the cave's depths. His body remained in the cave for nearly a year, slowly decomposing in the cold, dry air. No one knew he was there. No one was looking for him. When the Perovo team found Sergei's remains in August 2021, they were faced with another monumental challenge: retrieving his body. Veryovkina Cave, with its tight passages, near freezing temperatures, and deep shafts, is no place for a simple rescue or recovery. It took a massive operation involving over 100 people to bring Sergei's body back to the surface. The team had to carefully navigate the cave's most dangerous sections, carrying Sergei's remains for miles while ensuring their own safety in the unforgiving environment. Sergei Kozeev's tragic story stands as a somber warning to adventurers everywhere. Even the most experienced explorers treat Veryovkina with the utmost respect, understanding that its depths don't forgive mistakes. For Sergei, there was no second chance. And that's the nightmare of Veryovkina Cave, a place where the earth swallows you whole, and only the lucky make it out alive. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this.